Camerounais Camerounais, mes chers compatriotes.
Fellow Cameroonians, my dear compatriots, as the year 2022 draws to a close, I believe it is appropriate to review the ground we have covered as a nation before looking to the new year with confidence and determination. You must have noted that in 2022, our country, like so many others, continued to face exogenous shocks. Just as the global economy was beginning to recover from the distortions triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic, an armed conflict broke out between Russia and Ukraine in Eastern Europe. The war between these two great countries has caused far-reaching disruptions in global market supply chains of consumer products such as grain, crude oil, and gas. The ensuing global trade system dysfunctions also led to shortages in some manufactured goods and other staple products, as well as widespread price hikes. I am prompted by the dire consequences of the war on the economies of countries, particularly developing countries, and the suffering inflicted on innocent civilian populations, to reaffirm the importance of peace and dialogue in conflict resolution. My dear compatriots, despite this challenging context, our economy was able to adapt to the international environment, once again demonstrating resilience with an approximately 3.8% uptick in the growth rate, as against 3.6% in 2021. Inflation remained reasonable, well below the global average. Access to inputs was secured, thus helping to maintain production activities and to mitigate food insecurity risks. All of this was made possible thanks to the stringent measures implemented by the government. Thus, besides increased tax and customs facilities granted under the post-COVID-19 recovery plan, substantial subsidies were accorded businesses in sensitive sectors to sustain our economy's viability and competitiveness. The fight against speculative behaviors and fraudulent exports of staple products was intensified. Engaging strikes were also made to ramp up local productions, curb our dependence on import and promote made in Cameroon products. The government will continue to pay special attention to the coordinated implementation of the import substitution policy and to leveraging opportunities afforded by the African Continental Free Trade Area. Similarly, our social inclusion policy will be continued through better sharing of the fruits of growth. To this end, social safety net programs targeting underprivileged social segments will be extended to a greater number of beneficiaries in all 10 regions. In order to diversify state revenue sources, I authorized the implementation of 3 large-scale projects aimed at developing our mining potential, structuring our economy, and creating jobs. I would like to dwell on this for a moment. Although our subsoil is endowed with mineral resources, the non-oil mining sector accounts for merely 1% of gross domestic product. Developing solid mineral mining will provide us with substitutes for our dwindling hydrocarbon stocks and additional financial resources which can be used to finance our investments. Accordingly, the year 2023 will be marked by the commencement of the exploitation of the Kribi-Lobe iron ore. The project includes the construction of an iron enrichment plant, an approximately 20-kilometer long pipeline, and a 60-megawatt power plant. We will also start exploiting the Nabeba iron deposit. The expected benefits for our country are immense, including a 540-kilometer long railway line between Nabeba in Congo and the Kribi port, where a mineral terminal will be constructed. The third project concerns the exploitation of the Bipindi Grand Zambi iron ore with the development of an iron and steel complex for the local processing of iron. The construction of a pipeline and several basic facilities for the benefit of the population. A decisive step has already been taken in implementing these different projects with the signing of the relevant mining agreements and granting of operating permits to successful bidders. My dear compatriots, during the year now ended, our country suffered major supply disruptions concerning energy resources and drinking water. Ensuring a steady supply of petroleum products and cooking gas to the domestic market warranted increasing the volume of public subsidies through substantial budgetary efforts. In 2022, for instance, the Treasury subsidized fuel and cooking gas to the tune of nearly 700 billion and 75 billion CFA francs, respectively. Considering the intensity of the exogenous shocks and their impact on our economy, I instructed the government to consider all options to stabilize prices at their current level and to maintain the purchasing power of consumers. However, it is becoming increasingly clear that Cameroon, like many other countries in Africa and elsewhere, will not be able to indefinitely avert a petroleum products price adjustment if we must preserve our fiscal balances and successfully continue implementing our development policy. Despite these constraints arising from the international economic situation, real progress was achieved with regard to the provision of electricity. In concrete terms, the East region was connected to the South interconnected grid. The Nyabizan-Yaoundé power transmission line was also commissioned, currently enabling the entire production of the Memvele hydropower dam to be injected into the electrical grid. The situation in this vital sector will improve considerably in 2023 with the commissioning of Phase 1 of the National Hydropower Dam and the commencement of work to connect the South-North interconnected grids. Efforts to scale up energy supply quality and quantity will be intensified through the construction of new energy infrastructure and solar energy development, particularly in the northern part of our country. Access to safe drinking water for our population is one of my main concerns. The completion of the project to supply drinking water to the city of Yaoundé and its environs from River Senegal was to provide a lasting solution to the city's water supply shortages. I have also instructed the government to urgently finalize procedures for the launching in 2023 of the mega project to supply drinking water to the city of Douala and its environs. Besides our large cities, production facilities were constructed in some towns, namely Bamenda, Betwa, Ngaoundéré, and Ebolo. These facilities will be constructed in other urban and rural localities in the current year. My dear compatriots, in spite of the unfavorable situation, the government is sustaining its efforts to assume its prime responsibility, that is to improve the living conditions of the citizens. Ongoing structural reforms under the economic and financial program concluded with the International Monetary Fund and other development partners must be continued. I am pleased to note that no sector of activity was neglected despite the particularly challenging economic context of 2022. Without being exhaustive, let us briefly look at a few other sectors besides those already mentioned. In the public works sector, 860 kilometers of road and 460 linear meters of engineering structures were constructed or rehabilitated. These include the commissioning of the bridge over the Cross River between Cameroon and Nigeria, as well as the completion of the asphalting of the road section between Saint-Melema and Brazzaville, thus opening up our country to the markets of neighboring states. The asphalting of the Lena Tibati Ngat road section on National Highway number 15, with the advantage of increasing land links between the country's northern and southern regions. The construction of the Kribi-Lolabe motorway and the Grand Zambi-Kribi Road, which will boost the competitiveness of the Kribi Port Authority. The construction of the Betua-Baturi Road, which will be extended to Yokaduma and beyond. The construction of many road facilities has also helped to open up agricultural production basins. These efforts will be continued in 2023 with the construction of about 700 kilometers of road, including the asphalting of the Ebolova-Akom to Kribi stretch. I have instructed the government to do all it can to ensure the resumption of construction work on the Morad Dabanga Kuseri, Babaju Bamenda, and Kumba Ekondo Titi road sections. Special attention will be paid to rehabilitating urban road networks and improving traffic flow between our major towns. The launching of construction work on the urban section of the Yaoundé-Nsimaleng motorway and the acceleration of work on the Douala-Yaoundé motorway will feature among the government's priorities. The rehabilitation and modernization of the Tiko, Betoa, and Kribi airports will also be prioritized to ensure that all regions of our country are served by air transport. Fellow Cameroonians, the year 2022 was also marked by floods, which once again afflicted the inhabitants of the far north region, particularly those of Logone-Shari and Mayo-Danai divisions. This recurrent phenomenon, which is due to climate disruption, calls for strong measures to prevent the ensuing disasters. Besides providing humanitarian assistance to victims, I instructed the government to implement a plan for the reconstruction of the far north region. This plan includes the construction of a number of water impounding and socio-economic facilities. Regarding healthcare delivery, it is undeniable that it improved significantly in 2022. The Regional Hospital Center and the Garoua General Hospital were inaugurated and commissioned. Our country is now capable of providing quality health care in highly specialized fields, such as cardiac surgery and renal transplantation, thanks to the upgrading of the infrastructure and technical equipment of many health facilities. I have enjoyed the government to sustain ongoing efforts in this sector by implementing an extensive plan to upgrade technical equipment and to build the capacity of hospital staff nationwide. My dear compatriots, I now wish to dwell on the security situation. Overall, the situation has been brought under control countrywide, despite the resurgence of urban crime and lingering sporadic attacks by certain terrorist groups in some regions. Thanks to the Army-Nation link, collaboration between our defense forces and the population has contributed to reducing significantly the terrorist threat in the far north, northwest, and southwest regions. With the return to calm, remarkable progress has been achieved in implementing the plan for the reconstruction and development of the said regions. Once more, I want to commend our defense and security forces for sparing no effort in protecting lives and property, particularly in areas prone to terrorism. I also thank our partners for their multifaceted support, and particularly the United States of America for its decisive action in prosecuting those who help to finance terrorist activities in Cameroon from abroad. I urge other friendly countries to follow suit so that the resumption of development activities can be accelerated in the said regions. On the political front, decentralization is being implemented methodically. Powers are gradually being devolved from the state to regional and local authorities, while ensuring that the structural balances constitute the backbone of our nation's social pact are not undermined. Personally, I am convinced that regions, urban councils, and councils can and must play a key role in reviving our economy, resolving the thorny issue of youth unemployment, and the vitalization of local democracy. The senatorial elections to be held in 2023 will afford an opportunity to consolidate our decentralization option through a newly elected upper house of our parliament that represents regional and local authorities. Fellow Cameroonians, my dear compatriots, before I conclude, I would like to draw your attention to two scourges that are becoming rife in our society, namely corruption and incivility. Last year, in similar circumstances, I talked about the need to strengthen governance in the management of public affairs and to control government spending. Rest assured that this concern is constant and unwavering. I also want to reiterate that those who are illicitly amassing wealth by plundering the state at whatever level will be brought to book. I urge all Cameroonians, regardless of their social standing, to resolutely embark on this crusade, and I have led over the years. Everyone at his or her level should act with integrity and safeguard and common will. It is only through working collectively, decisively, and resolutely that we will be able to overcome the corruption persisting in our society. You have certainly noticed, like me, growing instability, violence, and disregard for basic social norms or established order in our towns and in the countryside. Such behavior cannot be tolerated in a state of law. Those who take delight in disrupting social order, whether young or old, will answer for such conduct before the competent courts. I am therefore appealing to all, especially parents and educators, to take up the responsibility of fully restoring basic moral values and respect for public order. Once more, I wish to make an appeal to those using social media for criminal and malicious purposes through their actions, particularly disinformation, defamation, and spreading hate speech. They cause distress to numerous families and often ruin lives. Fellow Cameroonians, my dear compatriots, as you are aware, it is by observing personal discipline in our daily behaviors that we will be able to build the modern Cameroon to which we all aspire. A prosperous Cameroon, united in its diversity, a Cameroon where every actor has his or her own place. In this regard, I wish to acknowledge the crucial role played by the private sector in the implementation of our development policy. For my part, I will continue to do everything possible to ensure our country's progress. I know I can count on each and every one of you to achieve that. Happy and prosperous New Year 2023. Long live the Republic. Long live Cameroon.
Vive la République. Vive le Cameroun.